You know what? In Travis, I trust.
Smitty,
Yes.
do you see
There
what
we
I
go.
found?
All right, we
I
should
saw
be
it in your
good to go.
Snapchat. Yeah.
Isn't
I have
that
no idea what it
crazy?
is. What is it?
It's my basic training graduation ring.
Yeah, I didn't
Remember
buy
how we
one
were
of
talking about
those.
that a while ago? You were talking about how
Vaguely.
one of your ex-wives
As
got
my
you a
ring.
class ring.
Yes. Yes, she got me a class ring. She sure did.
There we
Yeah,
go.
it's like this
All
is the only
right.
thing I have that's close to that.
I
Tell
have my
Amanda.
jacket I got.
Tell Amanda we had to come out. There we go. Hi,
Who?
Amanda.
What?
Amanda's
Travis
back.
had to come out.
Yes, had to come out.
Are we actually live now?
We are actually live and we have audio.
Do
And
we?
we got points. Woohoo!
So-
Let me get to us.
Where the fuck? What the hell?
So where were we? I think we were talking basketball, right?
We were talking basketball. We were talking.
Basketball.
Nate was saying something about how because out of us four, I only watched it because I was in Germany and I wanted something in the background. You guys really didn't watch it, so
Right.
because we're talking about whether they get paid to play is what Nate was saying. They get paid to play. They have a drive in them to compete, and then we found out through Amanda that she couldn't hear a damn thing we were saying,
Right.
and then we stopped.
I was wondering why my audio slider wasn't doing anything.
So what we
so
gonna?
let's
Do you
see.
know what you're gonna say, Nate?
No, I think you summed it all up.
Yeah, that sums
Actually.
up about the first part of it.
Yeah, I totally
Right.
forgot where we're going. So
So today there was news that the players decided to resume games after their most recent protests because they canceled all the the players forced them to cancel yesterday's games and today's games, and as of tomorrow they're gonna start playing again.
Do they say why they're gonna start playing again? Because we know why they walked out.
We know where they walked up, but all of a sudden they decided, I guess they decided that they wanted their money more, and they said, well, we're gonna start playing our games again.
Well, they're getting paid regardless.
Yeah, well,
You think
not
it's 'cause
really,
they didn't want
because
to let
if-
down their
because
fans?
the players
I
had
mean,
walked out, so they weren't playing. So,
Right.
but how did the players of any league get that much power, where the players get to decide whether they play or not, over
well, I
whatever
mean, the
they want
players
to?
are people too, man. Like it's if they feel like they're not up to playing or they're unreasonable account or reason for them not to play, then they should be able to exercise that privilege as just people. Like
right.
so
So,
if they're upset about like social justice and all the Black Lives Matter and all that other stuff that's extremely important right now, if they're gonna take a stand and not play one game out of the week instead of taking a knee or whatever, I say let them.
but you're saying that even though as a commissioner, he has no power, basically.
Well, I mean, you can't make the players play. Just like if in the military, if somebody says they're not going to get on a plane to deploy, I mean, I guess technically you could force them, but if they don't show up, they don't show up. They go AWOL, they're a deserter, they do whatever, they go to jail, fine. But you really cannot make someone do something. And if a group, like us, say we were a very popular podcast, right? Say, 2 million people listen to our BS and stuff. And all
That would be
and,
great.
That would be
And then
awesome. 2
and
million
all
people.
Like
say-
and subscribe.
yeah, and
Like
all
and
4 of
subscribe,
us say,
people.
hey, we're not going to do it for the next 2 weeks. I don't give a damn.
I
All
think
we do
what
is don't show up.
Travis. Yeah, I think what Travis is getting at though, like, any other job, essentially, if you were to do this, you would be docked pay, you would be fined, or whatever.
Fired.
And exactly, and I think that's what Travis is getting at. Like, how do they have as much power as they do without any kind of repercussion?
Yes.
Um,
that's-
Well, maybe you gotta look at it this way though: is you say repercussions and whatnot, but you're a commissioner of a league, and let's be safe to say 90% of your league is, not Caucasian, right? So if there
That's a good way
is
to put it, Nate.
an issue that they are all unified on, I think it's within best interest to just let it go. Just like in South Park when they're talking about Cartman and they're like, just let it go. It's just going to keep, I don't want to say that in like a negative context, but it
But you
just shows
so
that you
did.
actually care about them enough to recognize their problem, or not the problem, but the issues that are at hand. And they're
It's in their
electing them-
best interest to support it.
Exactly.
Is the
Thank
words
you.
you're trying
See?
to find.
Why didn't you stop me earlier?
It's just fun to watch you ramble.
Well, I'm gonna ramble a lot.
Yes, you've had many of influence today.
Look, it was full earlier.
I like that coming up. It's like,
Well, moving on from basketball then,
Okay.
to a almost 99% white league, the NHL.
Oh, what?
Damn.
I'm
Um,
not using this to submit for what I'm trying to do.
well, you said it was a 99% non-Caucasian, so this is a
he said
99%.
90. He said 90.
Well, have you looked at the NHL?
There's like 6 non-white people in the NHL.
Right. So Mike Millsbury, he is a commentator for the NHL. Really good commentator too. He was forced to step down away from the playoffs for the rest of the season because his comments about women being distractions and because they were in the bubble, that women aren't distractions anymore. Do you think it was valid for him to have to do this?
I'm confused. Valid for him to have to do what?
To basically leave the bubble, and he couldn't be an announcer for the rest of this year. And there's talk that he won't be allowed back next year or from now on to be a commentator. Basically, they're going to force him into retirement.
This is the guy that's had like the sexist comments and all that.
It wasn't fully as sexist as everybody's making it out to be.
But he said something that could be sexist.
Right.
Right.
It was
He
basically
was saying
taken.
women are a distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and-
Because.
I mean, in today's culture, the whole cancel culture, and in just the climate today, him being in that position, he knew what he was saying could potentially, make headlines. And with everything going on, I think at the same time, he kind of had to have expect some type of repercussion.
Well, if you hear about when he's talking, it's just mostly him saying that because most of these guys are single, they're out there chasing tail 99% of the time, and when they're not chasing tail, can be more focused on the game. So that it was more.
Here's
of
my thing:
that.
if you're making as much money as you're making in the NHL, and you're not even at least focused enough to be successful, I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, but I think the point that Travis was trying to ask us about was it fair or right the man got suspended because of the comments he made. Now, I know in the United States we talk about the freedom of speech, right? So you can say what you want to say. And obviously you can. We can say anything we want to. Now, we also got to be willing to take the repercussions of the statements that we make by,
Yeah.
And NHL may or may not have cared one way or another, but they sure enough did not want to be seen as someone who supported what someone else might have thought as a bad comment. And they didn't want to have the black eye. So they just suspended him, said, "You're done, get out of here," because we don't want to have that negative connotation involved with our brand.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's still a business. Like, yes, it's a sport, and yes, we are entitled to all that. But at the end of the day, it's still a business. Nate can't walk into work dropping F-bombs every 5 seconds and expect to
Clearly,
not
you
get.
haven't been to work with me.
Okay, well, a
What the-
normal job that's
What
non-military.
the F is this? What is that? Who
I mean,
authorized this
you've
printer?
had conversations with me, so
Nate's the reason why we are all working from home because of his F-bombs.
I did not eat any weird animal.
Nate's the reason for that brief at work.
when you're the reason for the safety brief. So,
as we all know, a lot of the players that opted out of the NHL. Who is the biggest surprise of all the players that have opted out of the NHL playoffs, as we want to call them, to you to be surprised that leave the bubble or not even participate in it?
you mean the players?
Yes, players.
Wayne Gretzky. Totally threw me for a loop. I had no idea he was going to even come back this season. He retired, then he didn't retire, and there's,
That's Brett
It was
Favre.
real touch and go. So
That's Brett Favre.
I'm surprised he
Nate.
came back.
Brett Favre. Who said Brett Favre?
I did. It's Brett
That's good.
Favre that does that every couple of years.
So for me, I have not been watching a lot of hockey, and I know I'm a bad Canadian for not doing that. But I'm gonna go with Tuukka Rask. I mean, because I'm a Bruins fan, and did any of you watch the game last night? It was like 7-2.
Yes.
You're a
That's-
Bruins
that's
fan?
That is not hockey numbers.
No.
Yeah, I'm a Bruins fan.
Yeah,
What?
that's
You're-
I'm sorry.
he likes everybody from New England except for the Patriots for some
Yes, I do.
unknown reason because he's just gay.
Wow. What?
Whoa.
See,
Whoa,
now
whoa.
you're gonna have to
Hey,
be suspended. You're
yeah,
gonna
you are.
have
You
to be
said-
suspended
you
now.
can't say that.
Travis is
You
gonna
can't
get
say
canceled.
things like
He's
that.
playing for the other baseball team. We'll put it that way. Then.
Between
Oh,
Travis
is
and
really trying to make
Desiree,
so I can't use this
I
audio.
mean, we got racist comments. We got Homo sapien comments.
Homosexual?
No, phobia sexual.
I told you I want to do
Comments.
this tomorrow, but no, we got to do this tonight. You guys harassed me enough.
Okay,
So.
my answer to that question is Mike Green from Edmonton.
Really?
So, yeah, I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah, tell me
That
why.
is-
I'm gonna tell you why. Because he is absolutely the only person I know at all that opted out of the games. Because I saw the news on my sports Yahoo thing, opting out, and I remember the name Mike Green because of Nate Green Bay. So, okay, so that's the only reason I said him. I have no idea if he's a good player. I have no idea what position
Does
he
the
plays.
color green and the word green like relate you to me? Like, are we related? Is that a chain thought?
Yeah, actually, it is.
Synonymous?
Yes.
So when
And
you
green's,
see green, you
green's my
think
favorite color. It's been my favorite color before I knew you too. So it's kind of weird.
See,
Even
I
though
was,
Green Bay is actually kind of yellow.
I was surprised that Nebraska actually opted out just because they were the number one team going into the end of the end of the season when the season was still going on, and they were still favorited to win the cup when it came back. And then all
Who was this? Edmonton?
Rask, Tuukka Rask,
Boston.
Boston,
Yeah,
the Boston
I
Bruins.
mean, it just means that Tuukka cared way more about his family and his newborn baby than playing hockey for a Boston team.
Yep.
He cared way more about the BS lies that. Oh, I'm sorry.
USA, USA,
He
USA.
was paid. Thank you, Obama.
So, well, Nate, since you're a Boston Bruins fan, do you see Rask actually coming back next year after this?
I think the Bruins are going to offer him a shit ton of money to come back next year. Like
Well, next
dump
year is
truck
technically
upon
his-
dump truck upon dump truck.
Technically, next year is his final year of the contract.
They're going to offer that boy. I'm telling you, last night's game was ridiculous. They put their backup to the backup goalie in.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
Fucking trash.
Back up to a
Straight
backup
trash.
goal.
Are you
How
still
many players are
talking
on a
about
hockey
Boston?
team?
Because that's normal.
How many players on a hockey team? 11? 20?
15?
I think there's 15 and there's
And
usually
they can
carry,
afford to have three goalies?
well, they carry 3 goalies on their team, but usually one doesn't dress that night.
Yeah,
Okay.
And
And then
each
they
stadium has an emergency goalie.
Yeah,
That
each-
is the best thing about hockey. It really is. It's the best thing and like the most amazing. Like, you imagine if football did that, and
I'll be
like
an
your quarter,
emergency kicker.
no
Yes.
emergency quarterback. You just have some random dude, Al Bundy scored some touchdowns in one day. Like,
They do.
God.
He's called the kicker or the punter. So I've heard that because I've never seen golf. Wow, I've never seen hockey in person. I heard that once you have to actually watch it in person
Yep.
to really appreciate it and
Yep.
really get into it. So the next time I'm up in Massachusetts and we're gonna take a trip over. That's all of us except for you, Chris, because you live over there in the dumb flop place of the United States.
well, he should just take
Alabama.
a trip up here too.
look,
you should
I,
pick him
We're
up
gonna
along
go
the
to-
way.
we're
I
gonna
got
go to
Smitty
Toronto.
to come up here. We just gotta
Yeah.
convince Chris and Shay to move up to the Great White North.
We are gonna go to Toronto during hockey season and watch a hockey game.
You do
Right.
realize we're from the
Toronto's
north,
a hell of a
right?
drive. We don't need to go all the way to
y'all are
Toronto.
Prospecting down there in the south.
You can drive 2 hours, well, an hour and 30 to Alewife subway station, and take the T in to watch the Bruins.
You don't even have to do that. Just get on the commuter rail over in Worcester.
Yeah.
No. I wanted to
Well,
watch
the-
hockey where it was born, and that is in the Great White North, which is not the United States.
Sure,
It's absolutely
Canada.
Canada.
No, it's
It's
Connect.
Canuck.
It's a Canuck
So.
team. Connect Sport.
So that's why I want to see it.
Native land.
But if you go to see Toronto, you're gonna see them lose. So it won't be that
Well,
good
they
of a
might be
game.
playing. They might be playing Boston.
No, what you need to do is watch Boston and the New Jersey Devils play in Boston.
Yeah.
You know who I want to see?
Well, it
favorite,
used to be
my
the
favorite
teams to
hockey
watch.
team is the Philadelphia Flyers. So that's what I need to watch.
Huh. It's very Ralph Garman of you.
I don't know who that is.
You
Show
don't
you
know.
later.
I will explain why I like them. The reason I like the Cubs is because in RBI baseball on the Sega, that was the best team because they had Ryan Sandberg hitting home runs. And the reason I like Philadelphia because of the same game system, they had an NHL game, and I played the Philadelphia Flyers, and I won like 7 games in a row. So I became a Philadelphia Flyers fan. That's the only
Nate,
reason I
I
like these.
officially like Smitty more than you. He's a Cubs fan. Got to go with it.
I mean, I don't hate the Cubs.
We hate the Yankees. There's a difference.
I say I just don't like the Yankees really, and I don't even know why I hate the Yankees. None of that happened in my lifetime, but I just know I hate them.
And it's okay, Chris, because typically after a little time, everyone likes me more than like Nate. So it's normal.
It's the way Nate rolls.
No,
So
what Smitty
speaking
does
of-
is he uses me as bait to like worm people in, and then next thing you know, you're part of his cult that he established a few years back. You know, growing the members up from 9 to like 14.
I only had 5, okay? And it was a church.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what they all cults say.
Okay, and so yes, this is not a sports conversation.
Well, you were talking about baseball, so that brings us to our next subject. How do you guys like the shortened season?
Fucking love it.
I'm good
No,
with it,
I-
except for the fake crowd noise.
I like
The-
that they
the fake
they
people.
pumped it in.
I like that
I
they
like
put
that.
the noise, but I don't like the fake people.
Don't like
I
the
like that
cardboard
too.
cutouts?
I like that they're doing that sort of thing because it does help it make it feel like there's somebody there. Like I'd feel
Except
kind
for
of
when they put cardboard cutouts of Weekend at Bernie's in the
The way
stand.
they should do it is like this: they say, you know what? If you want to come watch the game, I'm not sure how many how many fans fill a stadium
A lot.
like this, but we're gonna say like maybe 50,000, right? 40,000. So you can say, hey, 12,000 of you can come in here, but you can't. They rope off the certain chairs they can't sit in. They have to sit away from each other, and then let them watch a game for free, and let them watch it. And at least you have a real crowd there, making some real noise.
well, didn't you and I talk about that while you were up here?
Maybe I don't know.
Like
I was
so-
drunk pretty much the whole time.
So bring it like you said, bring people in. You know, if your stadium seats 12,000, you know, they bring in 6,000. Cut the attendance by half, and keep wide enough separate that seating. You know, it could be 2 rows apart and 8 seats wide or whatever.
Right.
You know, separate bathrooms. The bathrooms are pretty separated anyway. Maybe like set up some kind of like ticker number or something.
Mhm.
Like, the line's gonna be longer, but your crowds are gonna be smaller. But then you're gonna still develop a revenue for those stadiums, like Green Bay Stadium. If they, in the times that they're not playing football, that stadium makes no money, and that's why the team almost went bankrupt. So you have these, arenas and stadiums and fields and all that aren't making any money by being there. So it'd be a great way to bring some revenue back into the league.
Wow. Yeah, you want Green Bay to start going bankrupt again, so it will actually sell some, whatever off again.
I would love for Green Bay to go bankrupt.
Not gonna happen.
I would spend money to get a like Nate did with his thing. And I'm not that big of a Green Bay fan, but I like to own part of Green Bay. That'd be awesome. But this is not really a sport. It's a sports entertainment. But has anyone watched any professional wrestling in the last 2 months? 3 months
I
on TV?
tried.
Yeah.
I couldn't do
Thunderdome.
it.
What is? See what I'm saying? That is the one area that it's really bad that they do not have fans.
Yes.
It loses everything without
Mhm.
the crowd noise. Everything. It's like, what are they doing? It's so.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine how it was. to be
It's bad
playing-
acting without the crowds It's just
Right.
makes it worse.
I mean, when I was in Little League playing baseball and football and stuff, or mostly baseball, there's like 8 people in the stands. You know, the parents of the kids. That was it.
Well, at least they were
Um,
cheering and clapping.
Right, exactly. So
Yeah.
now you're a pro and you're and no one's cheering at all. You got to
Well,
have people. You got to have people in the stands.
Could you imagine you're playing in the major leagues, there's nobody and there's no crowd noise, bases loaded, and you hit that ball out of the park,
Yo.
and you can hear a pin drop. That has to be so deflating to just like your psyche. Like,
Right.
how do you cherish that moment?
Yeah.
Nobody made a noise.
Right. Well,
Like
think
a
of
tree. Does a tree fall in the
UFC
woods and make a
fighters,
noise? No.
Right. Think of the UFC fighters. Same aspect.
Yes.
You know, the dude, completely knocks this guy out, starches him, and the only person yelling is their coaching staff.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only sport that even remotely works without crowds, because it's so you don't really see the crowd anyway. You hear it, but you don't see it.
I just see a whole lot of Smitty butt.
I see OCP. You
Yeah,
down with
you know me.
OCPs? I'm so glad you got that
What is
reference.
Big Billy? Why didn't he take the camera off?
It's Smitty. I mean, come on.
So just so
Oh, I
everybody
love
can
that
see
man.
Smitty, there he is in his kitchen, going in for something else to drink.
All right, so what were we talking about?
So
Let's get
next thing
back
we're
on.
talking about, before we got too far off of that tangent, so every week there's more and more teams that are being reported to have gotten the virus. So player from this team, a player from that team. Do we actually think that they'll make it through this shortened season? They'll actually finish it out, or do we think that they'll go put on a
I forgot we were
be
alive.
grounded?
Please ignore my standing up and.
Oh
My
no,
whole
no, we
outfit.
had that front view and center just for everybody, so that way they can see him.
Yeah,
We
you
were hoping
did.
for another bend over shot.
What?
So do we actually think that they'll make it through this shortened baseball season, or do we think they're going to be grounded before that happens?
I think
What?
maybe it's a possibility.
Maybe, possible.
What did you say?
Do we think they'll make it through the end of the season without being basically told, nope, we're done?
With the players?
Yes. Well, the whole baseball itself.
No, I think they're still gonna get revenue from the games themselves when they're on like NBC or ABC or
Yeah, they get
CBS.
the media contract.
Yes, so they'll be
They're
fine.
getting some money.
They're gonna take they're gonna take a hit, but they're gonna play it.
I'm
through.
not talking about money wise. I'm talking about because they've all gotten the C
COVID.
virus. Yes, the COVID. Because there's
Call up your miners.
Whoa,
What
whoa,
are they doing?
whoa!
They're
That's what
not.
I was gonna say.
Christopher,
Give them all
Chris,
some
did
miners.
you actually just say COVID? Was that you actually saying the word COVID?
I did.
Because that sounded like a dang robotic computer COVID, like Nate does in his computer.
But do you think that they're gonna play no matter what, even though that every week it seems like somebody else from another team is getting it?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Amanda says depends on how Corona goes.
It
Well,
usually goes with a line.
All right, Nate. I'm gonna mute you if you don't stop.
You should mute. And
That
you should
didn't
have. You
end
should have
well the last time.
No,
should
you
have
had to
cleared my
disconnect
whole-
and reconnect.
video when I got up.
You should have turned your camera off.
I should have. I'm an idiot.
Well, it was our luck.
I
It
s-
would have had to disconnect and reconnect.
But I still look good in my Talking Stuff podcast T-shirt and my fatigues.
All right, where are we going? What's
All
next?
right, next is
We're still talking baseball?
we can still talk baseball. What else we want to talk about with that?
Well, I do got. Well, we aren't football yet because I got some football questions in case we
No.
ever want to do that.
No, we're not to football yet.
Well, we can start. off
Amanda,
with-
what should we talk about, Amanda?
I think we're done with baseball.
Amanda
Okay, what was
says
the
if
next thing?
numbers spike again and we hit a second wave soon, it'll end. But if it stays how this is going, they will finish the season. So Amanda's pretty sure that they're gonna finish their season.
Bring on some minors on the field; they'll do just fine.
So that was
Well, I
the,
just,
so that was the initial
Everyone
plan.
Nate.
does great when they have minors around.
I was gonna say, Nate, I think you're thinking of the wrong minor there, bro.
oh my God,
don't-
jeez.
You don't call
What is
people
wrong with
up
this
to
show?
the minors. I mean, who else would play professional baseball but other than minors? These teams are paying all these players to play in the minors. Why wouldn't they grab some minors?
So that was the initial plan, but then the minute it happened, they just shut down the whole team. Instead of replacing the players that caught the virus, they're like, nope, the whole team's out for the 3 or 4 days or until everybody else comes back clean.
Well, then they just get Joe Falco in, and they'll be fine.
Nate, you're no longer to have extracurricular activities before we do
Let's what I'm bringing valid points. Who cares? They're gonna finish the season. Why are we still talking about it?
Well, okay, but when's the season end? How far are they in the season right now? Are they taking out some of the games?
Oh,
I mean, because obviously there's 161 games in baseball, right?
They're only playing 60 games this season, and I think they're a quarter of the way through.
So they dropped 100 games.
Yeah.
They dropped 100 games, and we're gonna know
104.
anything whatsoever about it. They might as well just put an asterisk next to all the champions for this year because, when you take baseball, that's 161 games per year sport, and you drop 100 games off of it. You have no idea if that should be the world champion. They'll play it through. They'll have a World Series, but they should just cancel it. I mean, we've canceled the Olympics before.
We did again this year. It was supposed to be in Tokyo, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving on to college football. With the Big
This
Ten.
This is Chris's avenue right here.
Yeah. Especially since I knew he was coming on, I'm like, well, we're going to talk college. With the Big Ten and Pac-12 postponing their seasons to possibly a spring season, and the SEC, ACC, and Big 12 plan to move forward the seasons, do you think this will hurt?
Because we men down here.
Do you think this will hurt players from the Big Ten and Pac-12 from being drafted?
Can I say that I think we need to rename this from college football to and now a moment with Chris.
So here's where I get on my soapbox. 1, Big Ten, Pac-12, your commissioners are morons. 2, I don't think it hurts, players like Justin Fields, that have established themselves, already projected first-round picks. Like, I don't see it hurting their draft stock too much because they've already seen what they can do. The players it's going to hurt are these, receivers or, some of these, running backs that may be getting their first shot, as seniors to really run the ball, and they only had that one shot. So I think you're going to see your, 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks. Those are the guys that it's going to hurt. Not so much, your 1st and 2nd rounders.
I just see the draft class being weak because you have a whole bunch of players that, their seniors are expecting to graduate and they're missing out on that last year of training and conditioning to be capable of playing at the NFL level. That's a whole season off.
They're still practicing. They're still allowed to practice.
Practice is different than that actually doing it.
It is.
Like, you're not hitting people in practice. You're not, guts and glory, and if you win the game, you move on. If you lose, you're out. Like,
and
practice
here's the thing
practice.
too. The NCAA has already said that they're going to grant an extra year of eligibility to everybody, for fall, regardless if they play or not. They get an extra year of eligibility, so seniors can come back next year and play.
Yep.
I'm sure they have to be enrolled, but
then that sets them back a year. That
Right.
they're not going professional, they're not playing. So I think the draft is going to continue. It's just all the teams that are going to draft these kids, they don't really know how their quality is. I mean,
Right.
you can use Eddie Lacy as an example. The running back for Green Bay, came right out of college, looked great. Next year, he put on weight and was fat, couldn't move. So some of these guys might not have that discipline to skip a season and then go into the draft, and then you have major draft busts.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I agree with that. But I think, like I said, I think your 1st and 2nd rounders, the guys that, they're the, top tier players, essentially, those guys are going to have the, the discipline. You'd like to think, at least. But I think the Big Ten, and the Pac-12 need to reconsider. I think what they thought was going to happen was, oh, we're going to cancel and everybody else will follow suit, and that didn't happen. And since the NCAA doesn't control the college football playoff and the national title game, that's a completely different entity. I think that's what bit the Big Ten and the Pac-12 in the ass, because now they're out on the outside looking in. And I mean, look at the Big Ten had 7 teams in the top 25 in the AP poll, which is meaningless, but that's they're looking at what they gave up essentially. You had an Ohio State team that was predicted to potentially play for national title. You had a Penn State team that was predicted to possibly slide in.
Well, let me pose this question to y'all. What about the fact that this could potentially be the major boost that the XFL is going to need to start? Because think about it.
Why would this be a boost for the XFL?
Think about it, right?
And back to college. College is supposed to be about educating our young minds, not about sports. So screw them. Okay.
Well, so think about this. Though. You have all these seniors, right? The seniors are going to go. They're going to graduate and get their degree. The NCAA said that they can come back and play again, which means they're not going to get paid to play football. But these kids can go to the XFL, play at a lesser level that's not NFL pro athletes, get that year of experience, get their names out, make some money while they're still playing football, and then they can get drafted over to the NFL the following year. And this could potentially start that like a farm league. You can almost call it readiness for the NFL, where you're not quite ready to go to first grade, but you're a little bit better than kindergarten.
It's a prep school.
Exactly. So use the XFL as a prep thing.
Yeah, use them as a undrafted free agent academy.
That was exactly what
it's almost like a paid-to-play college. You only have your players for 1 year, and every year you're recycling your team with new people, or they stay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what the XFL was basically going to be anyhow. This doesn't change any of that. It's kind of like the
But
World League
you
a
don't
few
think
years
that
back where
this-
they had Germany had a football team, and I forgot what it's called, the
Yeah.
World League. Or
Yeah,
something like
there
that.
was
They
the
had
World
But you got to
League.
look at it with the fact of
European League.
COVID may have destroyed the XFL, but I think it's going to essentially rebirth the XFL, almost like the Phoenix. It's going to rise out of the ashes because you have all these players that aren't playing their senior year because of COVID, and then they're going to graduate and they need a job. They were pro all-star athletes in college. They go to this lesser level, and if they're quality, they move on. They can get drafted by the NFL for the following year, and then if the team that's on the XFL still wants to play, they can continue their contract. It should almost be, instead of the NFL draft, it should be the NFL presents the XFL draft, and all those players are drafting to a farm team for an NFL league.
Yeah, that's great, but that's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to change anything whatsoever. I think these these pro teams are absolutely going to be drafting these juniors, because how many juniors, what's that called when you go to the draft? They
Declare.
Yeah,
declare for the draft.
Declare
most of them,
eligibility.
most declare for the draft. They're already drafted now in 11th grade anyway. I'm 11th grade, as a junior anyhow. So I think it's gonna, any kind of changes or any kind of effect is gonna be very small and minimum as it comes to the talent level that goes straight to the pros.
Right.
What about the breakout players that you see all of a sudden their senior year? They were like mediocre players, their freshmen through junior years, and all of a sudden the senior year everything just clicks. And
Those are the guys I think are going to be affected, But those guys are usually your 3rd, 4th round picks when they come on late like that, unless they're just an all-star. So those are the guys that I think might be affected a little more. Is that third to 5th round, I think are really going to be affected because they can't build that draft stock from a 5th round to a 3rd round pick, or they're kind of locked where they're at now.
That's why I think that's when they don't declare for the NFL draft and go to the XFL.
And that is a
prove
viable
themselves
option.
there and then go to the NFL. I think the XFL is a crucial part for this year's draft.
But that is how it's always going to be. That's always as it was with the XFL when it actually worked for the year it worked. That's exactly what happens. The ones that weren't good enough or didn't get drafted by the NFL went to the XFL. And if they still weren't good enough, they stayed in the XFL. They just got fired or whatever. And the great ones moved to the NFL. It doesn't change anything.
No, but at least
Not
it
really.
gives these young kids a chance to gain professional experience and get paid to
Hmm.
play.
It's all about
That's the
getting
thing.
paid to
I
play.
think
They can get paid to play at a professional level and potentially move on to their dream of playing in the NFL or start the tradition of playing in the XFL. And I mean, The Rock
Or
is
they can move
charming
to
as
the,
fuck. But
Arena
everybody's gonna
Football
stay in the
League.
XFL.
No, I think you're dreaming.
Now I am.
I was waiting for it.
So, since the Big Ten and Pac-12 are talking about doing their spring season and it not ending until the draft time, right around the draft time, do you think that would actually help them be drafted earlier because they'd be more upfront in the spotlight, where they be most recently viewed?
I think it could happen. It could. It's one of those out of sight, out of mind type things. So they're gonna be right there front and center, more recent. But at the same time, think about they're not playing the same. They don't have the chance to prove themselves against a broader spectrum of competition. And plus, I don't know, and you guys we're all from the north essentially. You ever played football in January or
Fuck you,
February
Chris.
up north?
Oh yeah,
Jason
Yeah.
definitely not.
Oh yeah, you're from Florida. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm about as south as you get.
That's
Yeah.
what everybody thinks about Florida people.
Yeah, football
But,
in January and February is the coldest time to ever play.
Let's play in 8 inches of fucking snow.
Done that once. It was actually quite fun.
We're getting tackled on frozen dirt that's all knotted up because it thawed out the day before and you had the cleat marks and stuff still in the mud.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's the fun.
Nothing like
Look at us all reminiscing of times past.
Of
I never played in the snow.
course you wouldn't have Smitty.
I played in the desert. Right. No. Okay, I can't compare. Never mind.
He was trying.
He's
I
trying.
did.
But I am from the SEC section of the world, so come on now. I do know my football. We play real football down there.
Down there.
Yeah, we have 4 out of the however many teams are in the SEC play real football.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so my last question about college, since a lot of these colleges rely on all of like the football revenue from TV and from sponsorships and actual attendance, do you see that some of these teams that are, especially the down south Big Ten teams and Pac-12 teams, do you see them switching leagues to a league that is still playing?
I
Are
don't
they allowed
think
to do
no,
that?
not at
I don't
all.
think legally they're going to be able to. There's too many contracts involved. I think if that was the case, you had already seen Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, USC. Those guys already jumping into conferences.
I think it's funny on how quick we all jumped on Travis as soon as he said they're going to play in another league.
Are you
there was
stupid?
a lot of talk about it. There was initially. Like Nebraska's coach Scott Frost was like, "Oh, we're gonna go play in another league." Ryan Day said that he was gonna explore every option possible. And I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to the legality of stuff because they have contracts with the certain conferences and all this different stuff. Because like Fox owns like half of the Big Ten conference.
God forbid if money isn't going to the KFC Yum Center. It's Kentucky.
Oh.
Whatever.
So you don't think it's just them trying to get the lawyers trying to get all of their paperwork together and be like, yeah, we're done. Find that legal loophole that lets them out, especially since now everything's allowing a legal loophole.
I
No,
think at this
I-
point,
Look,
I-
if celebrities got arrested for cheating to get their kids in the college, I'm sure that college isn't going to be letting anybody take their players.
Well, no. What I was gonna say is that these are all good questions. They really are. But I think most people realize that this pandemic, the reason that this is happening, is going to stop, and it's going to stop relatively short. It's going to stop before the next football season. I mean, we're going to have a vaccine and things and all that good stuff. So no one's going to overreact by trying to jump Oregon into the SEC or Penn State into the ACC. They're not going anywhere. They're going to suck it up and just be done for the one year and then continue on. So it'd be a knee-jerk reaction for what's going on.
All right.
Maybe I could be an idiot. Wait, I am an idiot.
You
but I'm
are,
just saying
so.
what I think. Yeah, I appreciate whoever said that. I wasn't even paying attention to you, but whoever said that. Thanks for the honesty.
You're welcome. So,
God dang it. Sounds like you all sound the same to me when you're being stupid. So,
Hey,
so since the XFL
what are you
came
trying
up,
to say?
even though I didn't have any like talking points on it, how do we think because the Rock they did end up the Rock and somebody else bought it, correct?
Redbird Media or something like that, and some other guy.
So do we think that it'll be like last year's, where it's focused more like real football with the minor rule changes that they had, or do we think they're going to go in a totally different direction than they did last year?
Well, let me address one thing. They bought the entire league for $14 million.
yeah.
They paid less for an entire sports team league than how much the Cleveland Browns were bought for. Think about that.
I mean,
That's
seriously,
one
guys.
team. They bought 8 teams for less than it cost for the Cleveland Browns.
And
That's
you
not
know they're
bad.
going to have a massive endorsement deal with Under Armour. That's a given.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be their jerseys.
Yeah, that's a
And-
given.
Yeah, and us four, if we could have got together $15 million, us four would have bought the XFL. You know we would have.
Oh, you damn
know
right
what?
we would have.
Nate
like-
wouldn't have. He would have spent it all on blowing hookers.
I mean,
Facts.
if I owned a
Okay,
sports, football league, I don't have to pay for hookers and blow.
True. Touche.
No,
Well played.
now I don't remember how last year was the XFL, but I remember when XFL first got debuted, like 10, 15, or whatever it was.
Oh, forever
You know,
ago.
they had and they had the $1 Million Bowl. The very first two episodes, the first
Games.
2 weekends, the
Weekends.
first 3 weekends actually, was actually good football. It was good to watch. But I guess Vince McMahon saw his ratings going down, so he got stupid, and he started throwing the sports theater into it about like the wrestling does. He does that with everything. I don't know why. Just leave it the frick alone. People want to watch football, and it was good football. If he would have left it alone, it might not have made millions and millions and millions each weekend, but it would have built something. But he was an
Smitty,
idiot.
You're touching on something that I wanted to actually bring up. Do you think that Vince McMahon no longer having his name in the WWE associated with XFL, that they might stand a better chance now with
Yes,
The Rock?
I think
Like,
I think he's very creative when it comes to wrestling. He is. He did what he did, but he has made some of the greatest wrestlers that we know now. He tried the WBA or something like that, the World Bodybuilding, whatever, as a sport thing to compete, and he turned them into wrestlers. I mean, it's an actual competition. It was actually bodybuilding, but they were like the Giant Killer, and the guy was like 5'3" and he had his arms out looking like this. And you're like, what the heck? And he was trying to be a character. It's like, dude, just let this be bodybuilding. Just let this be football. There's a big difference. Nobody wants to see fake crap when they watch the football. They're
Well,
entertained by
right.
football.
Well,
As long as
last
you're
year-
not competing with the NFL during the same Sunday, people will watch your product.
Well, you got to keep in mind too. The Rock actually played legitimate football. He played at
He
the
did.
U. You
He
know,
did. My
so
team, baby.
so I think he's going to keep it true to form with that. I mean, he may make it a little flashy because I mean it's The Rock. He's a flashy dude. But it'll be more advertising flashy, and maybe the entrances will be flashy. The game itself, I don't think they're going to alter it too much.
see, I don't think that's going to happen. I think The Rock is too much of a purist when it comes to football, and kind of like a traditionalist, even with like wrestling and all that. Like, I think you'll probably want to maintain the integrity and have it be legitimate. Again, separate it from the Vince McMahon
Right.
flashy showman. This is The Rock. The
Mhm.
Rock is a serious brand. Everybody loves him. He's America's new dad,
Yeah.
which breaks my heart that was Tom Hanks. Now it's The Rock. So
Actually, I'm not disappointed.
It's going to
in
be the Titan games with football.
Yeah. Well, what it needs to be is The Rock. Yeah, he bought it along with someone else, but I'm just saying, He needs to pull himself out of the XFL. His name should obviously we know who bought it, but every week we should not be reminded he has the XFL. The Rock owns the XFL. It's like, you know what? Let the XFL play football. The USFL, which none of you remember probably because you're too young.
No, I remember.
But yeah, that was a really good football program for about 4 to 5 years. I can't remember what it was. And it obviously died off because it couldn't compete with the NFL, but it was trying to compete with the NFL. That was the problem. XFL just needs to be football that people like to watch, because right now we're not watching football. But I promise you, if we could, we would. We might not watch it every Sunday like we do the Patriots or the Packers, but we would watch it if it was on. And we need to just pull it away from trying to be sports entertainment at all and someone's big name and just say, hey, this is our product. We have a Birmingham team. We have a Las Vegas team. We have a, whatever team that they have, and let them play. And don't spend too much money on TV rights. Otherwise, you can go broke.
See, last year, I almost watched the XFL religiously every weekend, but there was certain commentators I liked more than others. And
ABC sucked.
And yes. The Fox commentators were awesome. They were where it was at. But the games, they did make some changes to the rules, but they were good changes. I actually kind of was appreciative of the changes because they were trying to make kickoffs safer, but they didn't want to get rid of kickoffs. They made them safer, but you also saw more explosive plays out of them because of the way they set them up. But everything else was just football. They were actually starting to gain ground again after that first weekend. It dropped off, but the longer it went on, the people realized this isn't just a show. This is actually kids that want to play. They're going to play hard. They're going to get better because they didn't have the preseason games, but they got better as they went along. And we saw some good quarterbacks come out of this league, decent quarterbacks come out of that league. We saw some good running backs play. We saw some really good linemen. And we saw some really good defensive players. So they had a good mix of players in the league. And some of them have been moved into backup roles in the NFL already because of the cancellation of the season. They were given the option to opt out of their second season contract so that way they could play in the NFL. Because they basically were told, the XFL is done. We don't know if we're ever come back. Here's your release. You don't have to play. You don't have to wait for us. And it was real football. And the more and more every week that they played, I saw huge gains in some of these teams that we thought that weren't ever going to show up. We saw a team that we expected to go 0-8 actually win a couple of games, Nate.
Mm.
And it was more
Sorry,
football
what,
than
Kay?
fake football. Yes, your team, Nate, remember? The ones that
What,
lost the first 4 games in a row? The Vipers?
Okay. What? Who?
Your team, the Vipers.
Oh, you're talking XFL?
Yes.
Yeah, they sucked.
They were your team. You picked.
Yeah, whatever.
But it's it was more real football than fake football. And the one you'd tell the teams that played in the Fox games had a lot more viewership because everybody liked those commentators. And just the way how they interviewed the players on the field right after the plays. Sure, some of them swore, but you're emotional after a good play or after something happens. So it was cool to see the behind the scenes of how a replay works, what actually goes on, what they are actually feeling, and the rule changes were kind of very interesting on just how they thought about them, and that they actually were you were less likely to see a kick out of the end zone and more likely to see a run back on a kickoff, which is something in the NFL you don't see it very often.
Right.
99% of the time it's going out of the end zone because they don't want kickoffs anymore.
No. And I like the one idea they had about 4th and 15. I really did like that idea, but they voted it down.
I wish we could have had an opportunity to see the overtime
Yes.
play out, the overtime rules, because their overtime is different than the NFL's.
What is the overtime rules? I'm not familiar with how XFL does it now.
Well, last year's overtime rules.
Explain it to us, Travis, who never talks in this stuff.
I don't remember what the overtime rules were because we never got to see them. but I think it was almost like college, if I remember correctly.
I was gonna say I thought it was similar to college, where you start at the 25 and you basically, or either the 25 or the 35. You get essentially you've got to score. Each team gets a possession.
Sounds
and
like college.
Yeah, I think it's very similar, but there was something about it that was different. I don't remember what it was.
I think Nate's using the Google machine to find out.
No,
The
he's
Googly?
Actually,
looking at
that's
movies.
exactly what
He's looking at movies.
Yeah, he's
No.
he's Googling the machine because Jeremy's not here. He's our usual Googler.
Yes, he is not here. Yeah, this is why we need to have the think tank thing, because we need someone to actually win honestly, not just guess their way to victory.
And or Jeremy, where
Uh,
he just knows too much because he's not here tonight.
hang on. Let's
I
kick
thought I was
off
a genius at this damn
punt,
trivia stuff, but Jeremy's like,
double
you know.
forward pass. The double forward pass was pretty great.
The double forward
Yes.
pass was interesting. That was cool, and we
All right,
saw that in a
so-
bunch of games too.
XFL overtime rules are overtime shall consist of 5 rounds staged in alternating single play possessions, as in customary in the NHL shootouts or MLS penalty kick.
oh,
A round will consist of 1 offensive player per team. Each possession starts at the opponent's 5-yard line,
Yep.
and the offensive team has 1 play to score. The team with the most points after 5 rounds is the winner. You want me to
So
keep
it was
going?
more like hockey than it was college.
yeah. Basically, you got 1 play to score. Otherwise, a team plays, and at the end of 5, no matter if you score the first 2 and they don't score anything, they still get all 5 of their opportunities to come back and score.
Yes.
If a team has been mathematically eliminated before all 5 rounds have been completed, the game ends immediately. Example, if Team A scores on its first 3 attempts and Team B is stopped on the first 3 attempts, then no subsequent plays are necessary.
Right.
Because
the
you have
teams
to be
are
an idiot to
tied-
know that.
If the teams are tied after 5 rounds, then rounds continue until one team is leading at the conclusion of a round, and that team will be the winner.
Nice. See, I like that. See, okay, we need to get like money together and start our own football league. I got $4. It's in my car.
I think I got
Everybody
2.5.
Hey, you
I
know
got
what?
a quarter around here somewhere.
The money that you're supposed to donate to my Great Cycle Challenge, Smitty.
Yes.
You could put that in our bucket for the league then.
I'd rather give it
those,
to your
those
challenge.
those kids with childhood cancer don't need it that much.
No, I'd rather give to you your challenge. Your challenge is more important than this. So.
So Nate, actually talk about your challenge for a minute since you brought it up.
Yes, I actually have been posting on both the social media platforms for my Talking Stuff podcast network. I've been doing this thing called the Great Cycle Challenge for 3 years now. This will be my 3rd year, and all money raised for this challenge goes to cancer research centers for kids. This year I'm doing 100 miles. I'm trying to raise $2,500. And my oldest son, Brody, who just turned 10, is going to do it with me, and his goal is 50
Nice.
miles.
Good
So
for him.
between the 2 of us, we're trying to do 150 miles and trying to raise $2,500 for childhood cancer. You can go on to Facebook. I have everything shared on Talking Stuff and Thick and Thin, and there's actually a Facebook charity fundraiser page created. All money donated is tax claimable, so you can claim your donations back on taxes if that's some motivating factor for somebody to donate. But a little bit goes a long way. $1, is still $1 more towards helping these kids have a successful life.
And if you're listening right now, Kingfish Smitty is donating $2,000 to this. Oh wait, no, sorry, that's not me.
And it sounds like our loyal listener Amanda is also doing this challenge.
Yes, she's on my team. Sorry, I forgot that you were on the team.
Yeah, you're forgetting all
Ow.
about
I was
Amanda. You
just
better
talking
watch
about
out.
my kid.
You better watch out before I go in there and steal her, because I'm going to. If she's into old fat white guys with gray hair, just saying.
That's the whole reason you're moving up here, isn't it?
I mean, she
Smitty?
got to
Oh.
see your butt in the OCPs, so.
And she did see me in person, too, so you have nothing to worry about.
She said that you smelled like daddy and cotton candy and daddy issues.
No, I don't have daddy issues.
Doesn't mean you didn't smell like cotton candy and daddy issues.
So moving
Well,
on.
the funny thing is, she knows what daddy issues smell like.
Alrighty then.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Yeah. And I'm the one who got yelled at
Yes. Why did you get yelled at, man?
earlier, about 10 minutes
Oh.
ago.
You did.
All right, so
That sure
moving
looks
on.
good on you, Travis.
Thank you. So moving
You're
on.
welcome.
So the NFL plans to start a couple weeks from now on Thursday, September 10th, with the Houston Texans at the Kansas City Chiefs at 8:20. Do we think this will actually happen, or will they delay and push the season back?
I think they're going to go through.
I think they're going to push it through.
I think they're
think
going
my-
to do their best to mitigate the risk associated with the virus, excessive testing. But I think they're going to still attempt to push through and try to get us back on the right swing.
I think it's going to be a 50-50. I think good teams are going to push through. I think bad teams like my Miami Dolphins are going to be like, no, we can't do this. We got COVID. Oh, my God, we can't play. We can't play. No playing. And they're going to hide in their corners and cry like little bitches. So,
They're going to talk about Tua's hip injury again, be like, COVID
Exactly.
causes his hip injury.
No, I think they're going to go through it because, I mean, in the United States, NFL is king. I don't care what anyone else says.
Yep.
NFL is king over NHL, NBL, NBA, college football, swimming, golf. It's football. And they are going to try to lead by example, and they're going to play. They're just going to play. I mean, they're
What about
practicing right
women's
now.
beach volleyball?
And if anything, I'm gonna say this right now: COVID won't stop them. They may walk out of a game because of social justices that they believe is correct, what they think is right, but they're not gonna stop playing because of COVID. That's
Alrighty.
just.
Well, I was just talking about it's going to be delayed, not just stop play.
Oh, they ain't gonna delay it all. No,
No.
they're
They're-
gonna go through.
They need that money. They're going to play.
All right. So,
Especially Kansas City.
yeah, especially Kansas City. They just made a nice little pay. You just got a nice little paycheck. So earlier this month, or was it last month? Players were eligible to opt out of this year's contract and push it off to next year. Of all the players that opted out, which was the biggest surprise to you guys?
Oh, I had somebody for this.
Mine was Devin Funchess.
Really? Why?
Yeah, I didn't,
I
you know,
lost connection. What?
yeah, just knowing, you know, what I know about him, I didn't think, you know, he would really kind of back down. And, you know, I don't know a lot about him as far as like his, you know, personal life or anything like that. So
Do we
Smitty?
lose Smitty?
I think we did. We
think
lose
we-
Smitty?
I'm back. I'm here.
Your camera's locked up. You may have to turn it off and turn it back on.
Yeah, the whole thing locked up. No, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, he's moving slowly. It's not my internet. I know that for a fact.
No, it's fine.
So, Nate, did you have any players that you thought were surprising that came out of there?
I did, but I can't think of who the heck they were.
Do you remember
I
what
think
team
it's
they
very
played for?
Hang on. Let me go ahead and jump on the Google web.
All right, so
No,
No,
Smitty,
I'm
do you have
going to
somebody-
tell you right now. I think it's amazing to me that Tom Brady opt out. Oh wait, he didn't opt out. He just went to Tampa Bay. My mistake.
You're right.
What about the Tom Brady refusing to play if any of his teammates take a knee at any point?
Right. Actually, no. My biggest shock was because he was the biggest name I knew that opt out was Nate Solder from the Giants,
Yep.
the offensive lineman. Yeah, I would just be only because he's like the biggest name I knew that would opt out. So, outside of the rest of them, it didn't seem like big names that I could think of. I mean, there's
Richard
that, like-
Sherman.
Did he opt out? He didn't opt
Hang
out.
on. Hang on. Y'all keep talking. I'm gonna give you a.
See, my
I'll find it.
surprise
Yeah.
was that the Pats had 7 players that opted out, and 6 of them were from the 5 of them I think was from the defense, and
Well,
including
the Patriots had the most.
right, they had the most. Now with
Because
the
they realized they weren't going to do anything this year without Brady.
oh yeah,
They got Cam Newton.
Is it? And they got Belichick
Again.
And they got that Jared from
Stidham.
Stidham.
Stidham, it's Stidham time.
Subway.
But yeah, that was surprising, and especially since we're talking about but a lot of the players that opted out, except for the one rookie, were all players that have a minimum of 2 Super Bowl rings.
Well, think
So the
about it
question
this
is,
way
did
too,
they opt
is-
out because they have already reached the pinnacle of their career and they saw that this season was likely to be crap shoot for their team, so they figured we're going to opt out of this season. We'll play next season when we know a little bit better of what we're actually going to have.
Yeah, but what about
Well-
all these guys that are chasing records? Like your Drew Breeses, your Tom Brady's.
They're not
If
opting out.
None of them have
I'm
opted out.
using them as an example.
Right.
But if you have any player that's been in the league for a while and they're trying to set a record, opting out and missing that one season is going to affect, consecutive start record or, consecutive starts on that
Do
particular
you
team.
think they really look for that kind of stuff, though?
Some might. You don't know. Are
No,
you them?
I'm
Do you know how
asking
much
you.
milk they put in their
I'm
cereal?
asking you,
I'm
motherfucker.
telling you. You don't
Do
know
you
them?
think that's what they're looking at? I know. I'm asking if you think that's what they're doing.
I do.
I'm not saying they are. Okay.
Yeah.
God dang.
You
Why are you
goddamn.
so offensive? You sack of dog liquor.
Girls, you're both
Sack
pretty.
of dog liquor, whatever that is.
I got bigger boobs.
We know you do.
You're
You're a
So,
solid
the
C cup,
Patriots-
Smitty.
The Patriots have a significant hit here.
Yes, they do.
Brandon Bolden isn't going to play.
Yep.
Patrick Chung is a huge hit for y'all.
Oh yeah.
Dante Hightower is going out. Marquise Lee isn't playing. Like,
There's a lot of big names on that defense that just opted out and basically said, "Well, we're done for this year." And our defense went from a top 10 defense to maybe the top 25.
Well,
Well-
the defense is the reason they did as well they did last year, no matter what
Right.
anyone says. The defense is what did it for them. I mean,
That's
don't get me
the
wrong,
only
offense
reason
was
I think
really
they
good,
made
but
it
the
as
defense-
far.
but you got to think about this though. The Patriots are losing their a good veteran wide receiver Marquise Lee, and a very valuable defensive veteran and captain and Patrick Chung.
Yep.
Like those
Oh, yeah.
are two central things that they're losing out on.
Now, my question: Can they come back? Because they say they opt out. Can they change their mind before the beginning of the season?
No, I think they had to declare by a certain time, and I think that time has passed. So if they were going to come back, they would have had to change their mind before the timetable. Because all that money was freed up for this year. So a lot of teams that had players that had big contract, because the Patriots, by all those players opting out, gained
Mhm.
$8 million, I think it was, in contract.
I'll go play for them for that.
In cap space that they could use to find new players to replace them.
Right.
Now, can we talk about Alex Smith for a second?
Yeah, sure. What do you
And
want to talk about?
The broken leg from the Washington the team
The
that
formerly
was
team-
formerly known as the Redskins.
Yes.
Yes, the Washington,
Washington football
football
team.
team.
The Washington football team, formerly known as the Redskins.
Yes.
Mhm.
Alex Smith came back for training camp. He was in pads and he was practicing.
You look good.
Do you think there is going to be a competition in Washington for starting quarterback? Do they think that Alex Smith is going to get the job because that's what he was before he got injured? Or do you think that second-year kid is going to have a chance at the starting position?
I think week 1, no. I think Haskins starts. I think there's too much uncertainty right now with Smith. I think, but, mid-season, if Haskins struggles the way he has in the past, I think you could see a change to, Smith going into that starting role.
So what do you think might be going through Smith's mind? Do you think that he might be a little bit more gun shy, that he might, see ghosts or, have issues
That was my favorite line
on the
ever.
field, thinking about the last time he was on the field, he was being carted off and may never have a chance to play in the league again?
I don't
No.
know, because as much work as he's put in to come back to be able to play with all the uncertainties surrounding that leg, I don't think you can be gun shy if you put in that much work.
I think it's going to be a competition because it is the Washington football team and their starter who got injured. Great quarterback, but you got to have a competition. Only like a handful of teams don't have a competition. And secondly, he's not going to be gun shy because everyone here, I know for a fact, has done things where you got injured or hurt and like, oh my God, maybe almost died, shot at, what have you. And you still went back and did your job, and you don't go back to think about, oh my God, that happened before. You don't think about that.
No,
I
you
mean,
have to
you
put
don't.
it out of your mind.
Right.
I mean, but
Now,
it's still a
you might
lingering
wake up
thing.
at night in a nightmare, but when you're actually doing your job, you're not thinking about that.
Well, yeah, but look at RG3.
I love
had-
RG3.
He had his major, ACL and PCL and TCL and Jujube, and he came back and he wasn't the same dynamic player that he was his rookie year. So just imagine, what I know.
That's what
Alex
the
Smith is a
competition's for.
professional, but you got to assume that in practice is going to be different than actual action. And when
Right,
he gets
that's-
out there and he has some 340-pound linebacker coming charging at him, maybe he might throw the ball a little bit faster.
That's what the competition's for, but I don't think he's gonna be like sweating the fact that he's gonna break his leg again or have any PTSD about it. I mean, he may, but I don't think it's gonna affect his play.
I think the first couple of weeks, and depending on how Haskins is playing, I think you might see Smith come in a little bit more than, probably, a backup or, a competing quarterback would, just to see what he does in those game time situations.
See, I think that this is the prime example of why we would need a preseason. And aren't they trying to
Yes.
not do preseason this year?
There is no
They're not.
preseason this
There's
year.
no preseason.
So to me, it seems like a preseason is needed because you're going to have these players that, weren't sure if they're going to play and, separating differently.
I don't mean to cut you off, Nate. Actually, I do mean to cut you off, otherwise I wouldn't. But isn't
Yeah,
this
you
the
would've said
same
you didn't
year
mean
that
to
we're
cut me off.
Yeah. Isn't this the same year that we're actually doing 18 regular season games too?
I think it's 17? 17 games?
Okay, 17 regular. Instead of the regular 16, we're actually having more games. So one of those games or two of those games can actually be preseason, and the rest could be because we have more games this year. So Nate's absolutely right. I think they should have preseason games. And I'm going to say this: I bet you Haskins sees the field a lot less time than my man over in Miami, Tavoa, does. Just saying.
Do you think Tua's going to actually do well this year?
No, I think he's going to be sitting his ass on the bench the whole year.
He's going to be a guard and a tackle this season?
Yeah,
Guarding the
really
water
is. Now,
jug and
now,
tackling
now
anybody
when the
that goes
game's
near it?
over, he'll come out there. But yeah, I mean, if I'm the coach, if I'm running Miami Dolphins, that man is not starting for my team unless it's the last 2 or 3 games of the year. You can let him sit behind. You can do an Aaron Rodgers, Roger Staubach, not Roger Staubach. God dang, yeah, that guy. I'm just saying. If I'm a Patriots player, I'm letting Cam start. I don't give a damn who the other guy is. Cam is starting for my team. And Chris, who do you like?
Oh, Bears fan. So yeah,
Bears.
Start
yeah.
Trubisky.
Oh.
It'll be fine.
Dude,
Just let him run.
Trubisky. I would let Trubisky play. I would let Trubisky play.
And let him improvise and let him run.
So-
Let him be an athlete.
As
Don't
long as he
handicap
doesn't throw the damn ball, I don't care what he does.
him. I said let him run.
Yeah, that's what I said. As long as he doesn't
Hey.
throw, because he's gonna end up throwing it to you.
No, Chris.
Can't be any
Yeah, I
worse
mean-
than Jameis Winston.
No, it can't be.
No,
That's true.
Trubisky is one of the top 34 quarterbacks in the NFL. Okay, so it's okay.
There's only 34 starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
32 actually, but yeah. I'm just saying that.
So-
Dallas is kind of stacked right now.
Here's my thing.
when
The
the
Bears
backup
could
is
go
better than
0
the
and
starter.
whatever and get the number 1 pick, and they'd still screw it up.
They have before.
So
couple of times.
Trubisky, they passed on Mahomes.
Because he was a wild card.
People talk about how everybody passed on Tom Brady, like all 31 teams. Guess what? The Patriots passed on him 6 fucking times
I
too.
can see
Okay.
all of Becca's ass. Just
What is Becca doing
all
over
of
there?
it.
I was so waiting for Nate to say
What's Becca
something.
doing what?
Like you could see like every definition because like what's she doing, man?
Doing dogs out. Hey Beck, I think Nate really wants to chat you up. You want to go to Boston? Nate's a short, ugly one.
We're still live on YouTube, Smitty.
I'm not dating
I
anyone.
don't think
technically.
Smitty cares.
No. Smitty's
No,
just
it's
like,
on my.
I'm trying to get rid of her.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was messing up other people's stuff. My mistake.
I think Becca messed up Nate, and that's what was all downhill for after that.
Nate's stoned. You don't know. I'm joking. Nate does not partake in any illegal
I see an
substances.
elbow. She watching and waiting. She's a cuck.
She can't hear nothing.
Oh, I still can't. I gotta be better. I gotta be clean.
So,
So I could use this.
So the
Yeah,
last
let's
thing
move
that,
on to the next.
so the last thing I wanted to talk about tonight.
It's my bedtime. It's really loud.
You were up till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock last night. Never mind. You know what?
1 o'clock,
Yeah.
12 o'clock.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about tonight was of all the teams that have made trades, all the teams that have made moves, all the teams that have had players opt out, which teams are you most interested to see how they do this year?
Now you cannot name your own team. You cannot. It's
Right.
not fair.
I almost instantly. Holy crap! I almost instantly went with Cleveland, but that was just like my knee-jerk reaction to pick them. I don't know why.
Because they sucked for so long, and you're hoping that they get better.
I still want a Cleveland and Detroit Super Bowl.
Me too. And
Like that
so
would be
go
a great
Cleveland with
Super
that
Bowl
game.
for 2021.
That
Like,
would be the ultimate Super Bowl for-
2020 sucked. Here's the worst 2 teams in the NFL playing in the best game of all time.
Right.
You know, like
Hey.
maybe it'll reset things.
You all need to know this. If Cleveland or Detroit, especially if both make the Super Bowl, I'm coming back up to Mass for the Super Bowl party. Just saying.
Whose house would
If
they have?
that happens, I'm going and finding a bunker somewhere because I'm pretty sure the world's coming to a damn end.
Might as well do it drinking with your friends.
You got a bunker up there? Well,
I got a basement.
I'm confused by what
That'll-
Amanda says.
what the
does she
people
mean?
out in the world don't know won't
by
hurt
me
us.
being appropriate.
Oh. The team I'm thinking about, and I know this is jacked up, I really want to see how they do, is the Buffalo Bills. I'm a
Yes.
Miami Dolphin fan, but I mean, I don't hate the Bills. I don't hate the Jets. Okay, I hate the Jets. I don't hate the Patriots. I don't hate the Jets. I hate the Jets fans. But anyways, but the Bills
No, I
because
feel
of
about Chicago fans. No
Yeah,
offense.
okay.
No,
Yeah,
I hate the
so-
Jets. Period.
Okay, but I it's something about Buffalo that intrigues me, and the moves they made, and they got a great young quarterback that's going to do great things if he stays healthy. And they got such good receivers and a good coaching staff, and I know they won 10 games last year or something like that. I like to see their movement next. I mean, I don't want them to. I don't want them to get it better. I don't want them to do wonderful things because, we have Patriots controlling the world for 20 years,
20
and then the Bills
years.
control it for the next 20. Screw you.
Well-
I'll be dead by then.
The Bills
So-
only have 2 people holding out, so that's
Well-
not that big of a
Well, I
impact.
just want
to
to
them.
see where they're going to go. I know. I just want to see where they're going to go. And I think they're going to do very well. And I don't hate the Bills. I don't love the Bills. But that's the team that I want to see what happens with them. And because as a football fan, because first and foremost, I'm a football fan,
Yeah.
I like to see what happens. I really would.
You know what? The more I think about it, the team that I want to see is Washington. I want to see how they do with,
Being made
Alex
fun of
Smith
all year.
and this is the year that they don't have a mascot. You know,
don't
they
even
don't
have
have
a
a
name.
nickname. It's the Washington football team. So-
I love that name. That's a great name.
I just want to see how they do, and say they go to the Super Bowl and they win it. They won it as the Washington football team.
That would be awesome.
The Redskins have been chasing a championship forever, and then the 1 year or the first year of them no
They
longer
won it
being
in '90.
associated with that, you know, now they're Washington team. So that's
Okay,
that's why.
does anyone else? Is this not ironic? But is it weird that the Washington Redskins, who people are aggravating and pissed off the fact that they call the Redskins, won one of their Super Bowls with Doug Williams, the very first black Super Bowl champion quarterback. Anybody? Does anyone see? No, just me. Okay.
I find it ironic. That's what I find it.
There you go.
So
Well,
Chris,
the first
you
black
didn't give us an
quarterback,
answer.
but the first one was Super Bowl. So
Do you have an answer for us, Chris? Which teams you're the most surprised by, or
he's
Mark,
he's
most-
gonna be in
Oh.
college.
Yeah, well, I would say honestly, the easy way out, the easy answer would be Tampa Bay with all of the moves they've made. But
Ooh, that's a good
honestly,
point. They should burn in a trash fire.
and not one single player opted out down there.
yeah, but honestly, the team that I'm kind of intrigued to see what happens is the Steelers because Ben's coming back.
They had
All
no
their running
opt-outs.
back, yeah, all their running back issues that they've had in the past, and they picked up that running back from Maryland in the or in the draft and passed on J.K. Dobbins like idiots. But
Do you think Ben coming back
like,
is actually going to make that big of a difference?
So, and the thing is, that's what I'm intrigued about because everything I've read said that he's throwing the ball stronger. He's looking like, pre-fat, pudgy Big Ben. Like he's looking like the Big Ben that won some Super Bowls. So
that one Super Bowl.
yeah. But he's looking like the Ben that pretty
Used to be.
much consistently gets into the
The playoffs.
And I have no skin in the fight, no dog in the fight. Obviously, when the Steelers win, it's a good day here because my wife's from Pittsburgh. But
Okay, that makes sense.
like
the wife's
I am
happy, so
intrigued
you're
to
happy.
see what they do.
So, as far as Ben goes, how long has he been playing? What, 16 years now? 15 years?
Ben's
Something
been
like
there
that.
for a long
'cause I
while.
wanna
Yeah.
say- He graduated high school like the year or two after I did. So
Now, because their team has always been known, always been known for the defense. I mean, they've had some really good quarterbacks. Terry Bradshaw, Charlie Batch. Charlie Batch was a good quarterback. I can't think of it right now. But do you think it's time for them to actually look for his predecessor?
Oh yeah, they need to find his replacement.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it's time for
They
them-
thought Mason Rudolph was going to be that guy, and they proved last year that he's not that guy.
Nope.
That kid Duck Hodges, like he's a solid backup. I don't think he's gonna, be able to, be the starting guy. I mean, he's like 5'8". He can't see over his lineman, but it kind of depends. I think. Potentially this year, either this upcoming draft, maybe the
Right.
2022 draft, they're gonna take a quarterback
Okay.
unless they pick up a really good free agent deal.
Yeah, probably not. No, I don't think there'll be much free agency going on between now. I mean, this year, because
Yeah,
of
I don't-
COVID and the fact people are opting out, the free agency is probably going to be affected. Travis, we never got your answer about who you're looking at, what you're thinking about.
So I've been looking at like 3 different teams. So
Mhm.
Tampa Bay, of course, because Brady went there,
Mhm.
and a single one of those players opted out of the season. Buffalo, because they were up and coming last year, and with the Patriots being in shambles this year, Buffalo is looking to win the division for the first time in 20 years.
Right.
And well, except for the 1 year that the Jets won it when Brady was hurt. Now I'm gonna draw a blank. The one that are moving to Vegas.
The Raiders.
The Raiders.
The Raiders, yes. Because they're in a new place. But it's not so far away that their fans wouldn't go and see them.
It's like 4 hours, 5
4
hours.
hours. I think it's 4 or 5
Okay.
hours. But it's like a 30-minute plane ride.
Right.
So
Is it that close? Is
Oh,
Vegas
yeah.
that close to Los Angeles?
it's like a
or Oakland?
Yeah, and it's like a little puddle jumper
Puddle
plane
jumper.
ride. 30-minute plane
Right.
ride. Like they're going up and coming down. They don't ever go flat for a while. So, like these and those Raiders fans, they make all other fans look like jokes.
My dad's a
Raiders.
Raiders
right.
fan, and he's an ass.
Yeah, they are fully dressed to the nines for their team. So it's not like they're moving so far away that they have to get a whole new fan base. So it should be
Right.
interesting to see how they do, whether they actually are better because they're moving to a brand new facility with brand new field, brand new stadium, brand new equipment, or if they fall into the toilet because it's a brand new field, a brand new stadium, a brand new equipment, where they've
Right.
been so used to the crap for so long, they don't know what to do with themselves.
Well, not too long ago, you all did. I don't think Chris is part of this, but I know Jeremy was about you picking your, your teams for next year.
Yes,
this
our
coming up year.
leagues. Yes.
Yes. You might want to redo one of those shows,
So,
considering what has happened.
so I figure now that so many things have changed, the week before football starts, so the Thursday before because it starts the 10th.
Yes, that's on a Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, it starts on Thursday Night Football. So actually, that would be next week that we would re-pick our division teams and where we think they're going to end up.
Yeah, because it has changed completely. Because
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to think the exact same thing they thought prior.
No. And like some people may think Cam Newton is going to make the Patriots better. Some people may think he's just going to make it worse. And same thing with so many
It'll
other
make
teams.
it worse than than Peyton did. I mean, Brady did, but better than whoever the guys trying to play there.
Stidham.
Stidham, yes.
Yeah.
So
Stidham was
speaking of the Lions and quarterbacks, I just read something that the Lions are working out Deshaun Kaiser.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
When was the last time he played?
I
Wasn't
don't know,
he a
but
backup in Green Bay?
he played for Green Bay, but that means Detroit's definitely winning 3 games.
Yeah, he was one of the final round of roster cuts during the Packers. He's also been with the Raiders.
Raiders, yeah. There's a reason he's moving around. I mean,
Well,
The
and he
big-
also worked out with Tennessee earlier in August.
I remember that in Tennessee said we don't want you because your knees are all jacked up.
Yeah, he's currently with the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
So he started as a Brown, then he went to Green Bay, then now he's with Oakland, or now
Okay.
Las Vegas.
And now Detroit's working him out, hoping that they can win 4 games this year.
Did I miss something about Stafford?
No, Stafford's playing.
No, he's still there.
I think they're just working him out for as a
Yeah.
backup or an option.
I mean, it he's starting quarterback last year. Pretty much guaranteed they're having a starting quarterback this year.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's pretty much it. There's nothing changed. This COVID we basically has taken a year of life and paused it.
Yep.
So it's
It's
But yeah,
made
everything just keeps moving forward.
sort
yes,
of.
like my impending doom to die by myself with no one that loved me.
But we love you,
Oh, wait.
Smitty.
Oh yeah, but will you cuddle with me and put your finger in my? Never mind.
I don't know. You didn't ask, and you were too busy with Nate.
Nate's not laughing right now.
Nate must need
smiling.
to go poop.
Oh.
All right, so that was the last thing I wanted to talk about. Does anybody else want to talk about anything, or think we're good for the night?
I think it was a good show.
think
Did
it was a
we
good show.
acknowledge the
Oh,
fact
no.
that This is our first episode from taking a break. You know, how do people find us if they're
Yes.
listening to this on, iTunes or Spotify or iHeartRadio or anywhere that's not YouTube?
So you would know better than I would, because I only know the
would.
YouTube.
This
buddy.
is your show, friend.
Yes,
You mean
but
I have to pump?
you're gonna pump that up.
All right. So we are the Thick and Thin Sportscast at gmail.com,
Yes.
right? Facebook is Thick and Thin Sportscast,
Yep.
right? Instagram, you'll get talking stuff or podcast_stuff. It's a joint count with all the shows. Same
All
with
the
Twitter.
shows.
Is what is Twitter? Podcast_stuff is Twitter. Instagram is Talking Stuff Podcast Network. That's it. Thanks.
Hey, I have 3 questions for you. One's easy, one's hard as fudge, and one is if you're Jeremy, you can get the answer.
Yep.
Okay, I know you got to at least touch base a little bit on the whole think tank because you do it every episode, so you got to do something like that. I'm not gonna do 20 of them, but here's the first one. Are you ready?
Yes. Usually. Sometimes maybe.
Okay.
Only
Now,
on Tuesdays.
are you guys ready? You all can guess it, but I don't know how it works. Anyways, which NFL player? I didn't say starter. I just said player
Player.
has won the most playoff games in history.
Vinatieri.
Yeah. I was either going with Vinatieri or Brady.
What's your guess, Nate?
Playoff game. Played in the most?
No, won the most.
Won the most. I would say Vinatieri.
The answer is Tom Brady.
Yes.
Fucking fucker. Sorry. Okay. This one I get the answer to. Which NFL player later went on to become a U.S. Supreme Court judge?
Oh, geez.
Any idea?
What player became a U.S. court judge?
Yes.
Supreme Court judge.
Yes.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah.
No, she never made the
No.
first cut.
The
Played for the Browns,
honorable,
though.
the honorable Sotomayor.
No, the answer is a guy named Byron Whizzer White from I guess he died in 2002. Runner up for the Heisman in 1937. So there you go.
Wow.
And the last question that's not hard but not easy. Up until 2018, who was the only player in NFL history to have rushed? That's the word there. Rushed for a 99-yard touchdown.
Oh.
So not return, not kickoff, actually rushed for a 99-yard touchdown.
Wasn't it Emmitt Smith?
Well, that's a good guess, Travis. What do you think, Chris?
Sweetness.
Mm.
Walter Payton.
Mm.
Lamar Jackson.
Before 19. Okay.
Nate fails.
Nate, start your
What?
thumb. Start your thumb.
What was the question?
Travis got the closest, and it was a cowboy, but it was Tony Dorsett.
Oh, jeez.
So I just had to throw something out there because I know you guys do the think tank thing, so I wanted to, at least honor it before we get off the air.
Yeah, I totally forgot all about Think Tank.
Yeah.
Completely forgot.
It's okay. But nice seeing you guys all. See you guys next week.
This is how we're gonna end it.
Yup.
Sure.
That's all, folks.